and I have an amazing person to talk to. I'm always so excited when I get to talk to other people who create food and recipes, and we all love food, right? This is Julie Hogue from the Vegetarians and Meat Lovers Split Table Recipes podcast, and I am welcoming Jesseca Hallows of the One Sweet Appetite blog and cookbook author. Welcome.
Thank you, Julie. I'm excited to be here.
I am excited to talk with you too. And just to give people a little bit of an idea of you, I'm going to read you a little blurb from Amazon where you have your cookbooks. Does that work for you?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay. Jesseca is a full-time recipe developer, blogger, and content creator behind the popular blog One Sweet Appetite. Jesseca is a self-taught home chef with a passion for food that grows with every new recipe she makes. Everyday easy recipes are her specialty, which means you will find so many fast, quick, and delicious recipes throughout her books and blog. Jesseca's goal is to create go-to recipes using simple ingredients and pantry staples. These are real-life eats that you can see yourself making on busy weeknights, weekends, and when impressing a crowd. I so identify with that as a mom of three boys and running my own businesses. That's exactly what I need. And, I love to cook gourmet, but I honestly just don't have the time most of the time. So that's like all, singing my song.
Exactly. And you know what? I also have a boy and he eats so much
Wow.
and he's a little picky. So that's kind of my goal is to make something that kind of fits everybody's taste.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And mine were pickier when they were younger, but as they've all gotten older, they're all, my youngest is 14. They all are so less picky, which is amazing. I've loved watching them grow and grow out of that picky phase because it's so hard, right?
Oh, for sure. And it really is amazing to watch them kind of like mature their palate and get used to some of those other flavors that they didn't like when they were younger. That's one of my favorite things so far being a mom is watching him grow and change his taste a little bit.
Hmm. So, what brought you to creating this? I mean, obviously, you had the idea that you wanted things to be everyday, easy, and I love the whole pantry staples because sometimes you got to make something, but you didn't make it to the store. So, what was your instigator to get you to want to kind of go in that direction?
It's kind of a funny story. I met my husband and we had our son and we had to kind of make a decision. We had to decide, who was going to stay home because we couldn't afford daycare at the time. And it defaulted to me, which I'm so glad. I loved that I got the opportunity to spend time with my kid as he was growing and changing. But that also
Yeah.
came with like the responsibility of cooking dinner.
Mhm.
And I did not know how to cook. I was an awful cook.
Oh no.
my, my husband was so nice to me, but there were definitely a lot of times we ended up ordering pizza or digging through the freezer looking for something to take over my recipe because I was bad. So I slowly
Oh.
started to teach myself and kind of train myself how to cook better. And as I was cooking, my mom and my aunts who lived in another state really wanted to be a part of the experience, which is
Mhm.
why I started a blog. So I started
Oh,
sharing
sure.
the tips and tricks that I was learning, all of my recipes that I was developing. And I mean, at first they weren't great, but over
Mhm.
time and over years, like they got better and better and better. And then all of a sudden I had this large following and I was like, wow, this kind of turned into something I didn't expect it to.
That's really cool. That's a really cool story. Yeah, so it was just part of your life and then it just grew into something that became a profitable business for you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That is awesome. That's a great story. And then also, I think that's encouraging for people to hear that because some people are like, "Well, I can't cook." Like it's kind of daunting and like, "Why can't do it?" But your story is going from someone who can't cook to someone who is very successful in creating a blog and cookbooks. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it really is. And like even if you think you can't cook, I promise you can. It just takes a
Mhm.
little bit of time and patience and learning. And it's turned into something quite amazing. And I've gotten a lot of opportunities that I wouldn't have seen otherwise just because I never gave up. So I promise
Mhm.
anybody can make my recipes. I've kept them very simple and basic.
That's so good. Because, and like I was saying, I really love to cook gourmet. I think it's really fun, but you really don't always have the time and space to do that. Like for me, if I'm going to do it, it's probably going to be on the weekends. It's not going to be weeknight where I'm going to be like, okay, now I'm going to, if I do that, I need to start earlier and like quit working because it takes so long to do that kind of stuff.
Exactly. And I also have like a really sophisticated palate. I love those gourmet dishes, but I don't always have the
Hmm.
time. So I try to keep it simple, but man, I do love to make a really good dinner, like something really classy and jazzed up. But it took me a long time to get there, but I'm pretty good at it now.
Yeah, and we all need those go-to things. And I was perusing your cookbooks, and you have quite a few recipes packed in them, especially your simple recipes, good food, 125 recipes. That must have taken a long time to develop. That's a lot of recipes in a book.
It is so many recipes. And I will tell you that that publisher was amazing. We sat down together, and you wouldn't believe that that came together in under 6 months. But I was cooking
Oh.
24/7. Every single recipe in that book got made at least 5 times. And
Oh,
it was a lot of work, but we wanted to get it out pretty quick. And I think it turned out so fantastic. It's one of my favorites for sure.
yeah, because that was one of my questions. Like, how many now is 5 your normal, or was that just what you did for that cookbook? Because a lot of people may have a certain number of times they're like, okay, it's not perfect yet. But and every recipe can be different. I get that too.
So typically, I would say 2 to 3 times for my
Mm.
website, and then as
Okay.
I make all of my recipes all of the time. So when I'm looking for dinner inspiration, I actually go to my own site,
Oh yeah.
and so 2 to 3 times typically. But then those recipes will change and adjust throughout the years as I find something that I'm like, oh, it tastes better if I cook it a little less time, or if I add this spice. But the cookbooks are a little bit different. I wanted them to be really solid recipes. So we did add an extra couple times of testing just because we wanted to make sure that those recipes kind of stand the test of time. And somebody who buys the cookbook in 5 years will have the same experience as someone who purchased it yesterday.
Right. Right. And then when you were doing it, did you like stick on one recipe and make it 5 times in a row, or did you jump around for variety? Because, you're probably going to eat this stuff, right? Or did you end up not eating it all?
Oh, that is such a great question. Most of the recipes, I kind of would break it up. I'd make it like 1 or 2 times, and then I'd try another one to break it up a little bit and then
Hmm.
come back to that one.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big believer in food waste. So every test recipe
Mhm.
went to one of my neighbors or my friends or family. And then they gave me really great feedback, and they were so honest, which was so helpful in the process. So we did make sure, as I was testing, to set up those households to be like, hey, let me bring you dinner in exchange for provide me feedback for this recipe. And so that's kind of how we avoided getting fatigued on the recipes, is kind of just setting it up and then sending it off to different taste testers to make sure that they were perfect.
I love that because I hate wasting food too. Like I'll try to freeze it if we're not eating it all, but I love that idea of being like, and not only that you're not wasting the food, you're giving your friends or family a night off, you're getting valuable feedback. It's kind of like having someone read your book because I'm also an author, having like beta readers. You're like beta eaters.
Exactly. I'm going to call them that from now on, actually. That's perfect.
Like that idea. They're beta eaters for you. And just to give you that feedback and be like, yeah, I like this one. Or especially if you alter it a little bit and they can be like, no, the first one was better or the second one was better.
Yes. And we kept some detailed notes too. And so I asked a lot of questions, and it just is really great to have somebody like on the outside looking in. Cause sometimes I'd be like, oh, I think this recipe's better this way. But then three
Hmm.
other families would say, no, 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 the first way was better. So
Right.
yeah, everybody has a
Yeah.
different taste.
They do. Isn't that interesting? And it's like something can be really good to one person, and the other person's like they don't like it. And that's what makes it kind of hard to make a cookbook too, because you're wanting to pick the best one, but you might be picking the one that you like best and not the majority of people.
Exactly. It's so nice to have like that different perspective to kind of keep you like toned into everybody's taste and not just what you like.
Now, is that simple recipes, good food, your favorite cookbook, or is one of your other ones your favorite?
Oh, oh, that is so hard. So if I have to say, the most popular is definitely my tinfoil dinner cookbook.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
Everybody loves that one. It's a top seller, especially during the summer. But my personal favorite has to be the Deliciously Easy Cupcake cookbook.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
I love cooking, but my passion is definitely baking.
Okay, sure. Now, which one was the first one you published?
That would be my tinfoil dinner cookbook.
Oh, is a tinfoil one. Okay. I really love that
Yeah.
idea too, because our family does go camping too. And sometimes even at home, I'm just like for grilling or I just don't want to have a big giant cleanup. Tinfoil is a go-to thing.
Oh, for sure. And a lot of people don't realize that you can actually make those in the oven. You can do them on the grill. You
Hmm.
can take them camping. They're just a all around great, like handy thing to have, especially during the summer when you don't want to turn on your oven, but you want a really filling, tasty meal. You can just throw it out on the grill and be good to go.
Oh yeah. Like we've done that for years. My husband and I would like make like a foil packet. Like that's a common thing too, like with a bunch of veggies in there and then he just flips the packet, as you're grilling it. So even before I had ventured into other areas with tinfoil, that was like something we'd done for years just because I don't know, because we like to grill and it was an easy way. Because, you have a whole bunch of veggies. You could do some of those pans and stuff like those grill pans, but the tinfoil is just so nice and you can wrap it up. You can add things in there that you can't, and it's sealed. So it's nice.
Exactly. Yeah. And that was kind of one too that I had just posted one tinfoil recipe on my website, and a publisher
Mm.
reached out and was like, hey, listen, we think this could be a cool thing. And I wasn't
Oh,
really sure. So it was really kind of pushed me to test my limits and try new things, which was really fun and exciting.
yeah. Well, that's an interesting story. So they just saw the one recipe and they're like, hey, this is a book.
Yes. And it kind of shocked me because I was like, oh, sorry about that. I was kind
That's
of, it kind of shocked me because I just wasn't expecting it because of all of the recipes that I posted online. That one was just kind of not my normal go to. But now I have a lot of tinfoil recipes on my website and they're very popular.
Oh, yeah. So do a lot of your recipes have the foil open or closed, or is it kind of varied?
It kind of varies. A lot of the dinners are closed tinfoil, and then some of the desserts are more open. It depends
Okay.
kind of if you want it to stick to the top of the dessert, you close it, but most of the time you don't.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that makes sense. And it's so versatile too. Like you can use it for just about anything, right? I mean, yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool story. So the other one we have not talked about yet is your cast iron kitchen, which I think is really interesting because we have a few cast iron pots. One is we use my husband got for when we go camping, and the other one is like my grandma's that I've like had forever.
Yes. And that book was an interesting one. It was kind of a spin-off of the tinfoil dinners. They wanted me to keep it
Mm.
kind of rustic, kind of outdoors. But
Mhm.
the funny thing is that I don't take my cast iron cooking. I actually use it in my day-to-day cooking because that seasoning that you get on there as you're cooking over the years is just so good.
Mm.
And I think a lot of people think that that one is for camping, but you can make
Mhm.
almost
Right.
anything in a cast iron. And it's just one of those versatile tools that I think everybody should own in their kitchen.
Yeah, and I probably don't use mine enough, like, because it is very versatile and it does make it foods are different in it, right? I mean, how do you think it's different and why do you think it's different when it's cooked in a cast iron pot?
Well, one of the biggest things would be definitely the seasoning that you get over time. Like you should be cleaning your cast iron, and I go over it in
Mm.
my book, like a really good method to cleaning and
Mm.
maintaining that nice oil seasoning that you put on there.
Hmm.
But when you, for example, I made a pesto chicken pasta yesterday for my website. Spoiler alert, that's going
Mm.
to come out soon. But I started with a pan seared chicken breast. And when you do that in a cast iron, it heats up evenly. You're getting an even cook on the whole top of the chicken. And you
Mm.
start it on the stovetop, finish it in the oven. And I just have never had a stovetop chicken turn out so well as it does in a cast
Mm.
iron. So it's a multifunctional tool, I would say, because you can start on the stove and in the oven. You get all of the crispy bits from the chicken soaking into the cast iron, which then is used in the sauce, which gives you a dish that
Mm.
kind of combines all of those flavors. And it's just so delicious. And you never realize how good it is until you try it. And you see the difference from that versus a non-stick skillet.
I love that idea. And what a great thing because you're right, it could go right from the stovetop right into the oven.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a pretty epic thing. And you could do a lot of different things with that. I'm gonna have to try that. We have the one we have for grilling is much bigger and the one from my grandma is smaller, but the bigger one is nice, especially if you're trying to cook for a family, right? Because, you need the space.
Yes. And like if you're going to only buy one cast iron and you like pizza, I always suggest a cast iron pizza stone because
Oh.
it just nothing tastes quite as good. You get the bottom of your pizza dough really crisp. We use it for frozen pizzas. We use it for homemade pizzas. It's probably the most utilized cast iron piece that we have in our household.
Wow, I did not even know they made this. So this is just kind of like a flat slab of cast iron?
Exactly. Yes. And it's just one of those random pieces you never knew you needed until you had it, and then you use it all the time.
Yeah. like we have a pizza pan it has a bunch of holes in it, and then we have it that's metal, and then we have a stone, which I don't really love the stone. I don't know if you've ever tried cooking on a pizza stone. I don't really love it, but we definitely we're a big pizza family, so I need to look into this cast iron pizza pan idea. I think we would love that.
Yeah, oh, for sure. And we have a stone as well, and it's okay. I'm with you. I don't really love it. If I had to pick
Hmm.
between a stone and a pizza pan, I'd go with the pizza pan. But the
Yeah.
cast
Hmm.
iron, if you leave it in there and heat up the oven with the cast iron inside, it gets you the perfect bake every single time.
So you put it in there when even when you're preheating.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So then I suppose now if you had that, I'm like thinking outside the box here. Have you ever put it on the stove top and like used it to make pancakes or eggs?
I haven't, but I'm sure that you could. We have used it in the
Yeah.
grill. We put it in the grill
Mm,
like every summer. That's how we make our pizzas.
sure.
Frozen pizza or homemade. I mean, a Trader Joe's frozen pizza on the grill is just 10 out of 10. You definitely should try that.
We've done it a couple of times. We have to be careful though, because when my husband did it, it's like the cheese doesn't get crispy. So then he like overcooked it because like in the oven, it gets
Ooh,
like kind of crispy. You know what I mean? Like he didn't expect that. I don't know. Maybe it was the way he did it, but so the bottom got like too done and the cheese wasn't like even browned yet.
you know what? That's actually something that I'm going to have to test out because I've never heard of that happening. But if it happened to you, I'm sure it's happening to other people.
Unless he had it too hot. Like I'm thinking maybe it was too hot. And so it was all coming from the bottom and then it just cooked the crust too much
It could be. Yeah, for sure.
and too fast,
When
maybe.
we make them on the grill, we put our cast iron in there and we let it preheat with the grill for a few minutes.
Mm. Hmm.
And I don't know if that makes a difference, but it seems to cook pretty evenly overall.
Okay, that's good to know. So it's kind of like, yeah, just whatever you're going to heat it in, oven or grill, you put it in as you're starting up the heat.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Now, I suppose I'm just trying to think what else would you do with that? You probably wouldn't want to put meat on that in the grill, would you? Because you got the grate of the grill. Would there be any benefit you think to doing it on the cast iron on the grill, doing meat?
Yeah, we actually use our cast iron on the grill and our smoker pretty regularly. That's
Okay.
something that can be really handy. Like if you're cooking something that you want to kind of keep the juices together, oh man, you're putting me on the spot here. Like maybe like a pork shoulder or like some sort of
Mm,
roast, and you want to start it on the smoker to get that nice smoky flavor, but then you want to transfer it over to the oven to finish
hmm.
cooking. It keeps all of those
Okay.
juices and everything contained, and it's a really good option to have when you're just grilling or smoking like a larger kind of dish.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. So on your website, do you focus on any kind of recipes or do you kind of just have like every topic that you like to cook? You know, is it very varied or do you have any kind of focuses? Because when I looked at it, it looked like you had a lot of different things.
Yeah, that's actually a great question. So when I started, I didn't really have a focus. I was just kind of sharing everything that I tried. But over the last 2 years, I've kind of niched down a little bit and we share a lot of really easy American style recipes like 5 ingredient, 30-minute meals, one pan
Hmm.
meals, sheet pan dinners. So really basic, easy things that can get you through the week.
Yeah, I really like those sheet pan meals too. They're just so convenient and I've had good luck with them and everybody likes them at my house. So it's just kind of, yeah, it's an easy meal that easy prep, easy cleanup. Yeah, I think they're great.
Yeah, they're really lifesavers, especially when you have like no time or you just don't have any
Hmm.
energy to put into the thought of dinner.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Because it's like sometimes you're working all day and then you're like, oh, okay, now I got to make dinner. So, thinking of making something, extensive, you don't always want to do. You want something you can get together that everybody likes, is good and easy and quick prep because we're busy.
Oh, for sure. And one of my favorite tips for sheet pan dinners is always keep frozen veggies in your freezer because that is the base to any sheet pan meal. Last night I didn't really have anything planned, so we grabbed some frozen broccoli florets, tossed them on the pan with some chicken sausage and some diced potato, and then 45 minutes later we had a dinner that was just phenomenal.
Awesome. Now, do you generally put a lot of sauces on your sheet pan meals or just more seasonings?
So we don't do a lot of sauces because one of my picky eaters in my household is not a sauce fan. So most of
Right.
our sheet pan meals are mostly seasoning and a little avocado oil, and that's about
Okay.
it.
Hmm.
But we did make one the other day that was sausage and So chicken sausage is a big hit in our household. So chicken sausage,
Hmm.
green beans, and then we did an Alfredo sauce, and it was
Oh,
very,
okay.
very good.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I've never done green beans with Alfredo sauce. How interesting.
It was kind of like a last minute, oh, hey, I have this, I need to use it. And so I tossed it all together and it worked out really beautifully.
Nice. That's cool. That's kind of fun too. Then you like come up with unique recipes that, many people may have not paired the things together with before.
Yeah, sometimes it's a win, sometimes, not so much.
Right. So I also noticed that in your simple recipes, one of the description things you had was 5 ingredient desserts. I like that idea too.
Yeah, so I mentioned I love baking and I love the sweets in general. And so keeping things super simple is like so key for me because number one, we didn't have a lot of money. So anything that has 5 ingredients or less is going to be budget friendly.
Yeah.
But then it's also going to be a go-to for people who, maybe you have a sweet tooth and you want to dive into something and get a treat and not have to worry about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's just so much more doable. Like
Yes,
if I look at a recipe and it has like 10, 15 ingredients, 20 plus, that's daunting in and of itself. You know what I mean?
yes, exactly.
So I love this whole 5 ingredient thing. So do you focus on any type of things? You usually bake them or do you do no bake or what are your go-tos for desserts?
Okay, funny enough that you say this, and this is such a controversial way of cooking. I get a lot of people who love it, a lot of people who don't.
Mm.
Mug recipes are actually my favorite recipes. I have a mug brownie that's just 2 ingredients, and it's
Oh,
literally
wow.
just brownie mixed with water, and you stir it together in a mug, and you microwave it, and you've got a brownie ready to go.
Oh,
That is
wow.
it's so good, so easy, and like anybody can do it. And so I have a
Yeah.
lot of those kinds of recipes are my go-to. Now, if I'm going to sit down and have a lot of time, I'm definitely going to make you a cupcake because cupcakes are, I mean, king in my house.
That's fun. So is your deliciously easy cupcake cookbook, is it pretty much all cupcake recipes then?
Yes. So it's all cupcakes, cupcake variations, and frosting.
Instacart, groceries delivered in as little as 1 hour. Free delivery on your first order $35. Save yourself that trip to the market. Instacart delivers groceries in as fast as 1 hour. They connect you with personal shoppers in your area to shop and deliver groceries from your favorite stores. Free delivery on your very first order over $35. Following the link in the show notes lets Instacart know we sent you and help support our show. Multiple stores available. Shop all of your favorites on a single order. The products you love from your local stores. Hand selected by shoppers based on your preferences. Delivery to your door in as fast as 1 hour. Instacart highlights deals to help you save money. Don't we all want that? Find everything you usually buy and get smart suggestions for new items. Instacart picks the freshest produce and keeps your eggs safe too. Woohoo! Those are things I want. Try it out today. You will love it. Oh, fun. That's very fun. So, do you guys have a favorite, chocolate or vanilla, or what's your favorite for cupcakes at your house? Maple? What's your
Ooh,
go-to?
you would ask me. It's very divided. We have a divided
Mm.
household. My son loves my red velvet. That one
Oh.
actually won second place at a competition here in Utah. I only lost because
Oh.
I wasn't very good at decorating. The flavor they said was the
Oh.
winning flavor.
Gotcha.
But that's his favorite. My husband definitely loves my chocolate cupcake. And
Mm.
I'm more a fan of my strawberry cupcake. That's probably my go to any day of the week.
Oh, fun. Now, do you find yourself baking all the time, or is it something that's more rare for you in your
We've
personal life?
we've kind of stopped baking as much. I bake a lot on Sundays. So on Sundays we kind of come together as a family and decide, if we want cookies or if we want brownies or if we want cupcakes. And we'll do
Mhm.
like one sweet for the week. And we find by doing it that way, we eat everything. And so there's not much waste.
Right. I know. I'm a big hater of waste. Like
Same.
it, it bothers me. In some things I think I may not be able to freeze. I'll even try it, Like recently, I made some pickle wraps, and I'm like, okay, I've never freeze these, and I don't know if it's going to work because they're tortillas. But I'm like, I'd rather just try it, and then if it doesn't work, then I'll throw it away. But I'd rather attempt to use it all, you know?
Oh, for sure. I'm actually starting a series on my website soon that is going to be utilizing leftovers. So it's going to share like a meal
Oh,
idea and then what you can do with the leftovers because we don't my my son and my husband don't eat leftovers. So I've had to get pretty creative with how we
oh.
repurpose those into a whole new meal.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's hard. Yeah. My husband and I love leftovers because it's we both work from home. So it's like there's an easy, quick lunch. We don't have to do anything. We just pick
Exactly.
it
Yeah.
up.
I'm a big leftover eater. I was eating all of the leftovers and then I was like, okay, there's got
Oh.
to be a better way. And we've gotten pretty creative with some of our dinner ideas. So it's been fun.
Yeah, you could do different things. Like I created a recipe once where I had a whole bunch of garlic bread left over, which is rare. Usually we eat all the garlic bread. But I decided, you know what? Why not make it into a quiche? So I made a garlic bread quiche. And it worked
Ooh,
fantastic. So,
yeah.
yeah, there's so many different things you can do with leftovers. And, if you especially if you think outside the box like that, like, it's just who wants to throw away your garlic bread? No, you don't really want to. But if you could use it to make something new like that, that's ideal.
No, for sure. Never throw away your garlic bread ever.
And meats, I'd love to do it too. And for me too, because I'm actually a vegetarian and the rest of my family eats meat. It's great for me too to also like save like grilled meats or leftover meats because then I can easily add it in for them and leave it out for me because it's already ready and it's just an easy addition that way.
Oh, for sure. We always have grilled chicken that is chopped up in our freezer because it's just so easy to grab and pull out for a a meal or dinner.
Do you have any tips that you share with people that you think make cooking easier?
Oh, yes. This is one of my favorite questions to get asked. Absolutely. I think that number one, you should meal plan and you should go off of what's on sale in stores. And that can be kind of intimidating and hard for people, but I am always available if you have any questions. So what I do is I will look at what's on sale and let's say chicken's on sale. So then I know that I'm going to be purchasing chicken and I'm like not going to want to eat chicken every day of the week because we do like to throw in a
Yeah.
meatless meal, a beef meal, like some salads. So
Hmm.
what I do is I say, okay, this pack of chicken is going to be good for 4 meals. I'm not going to eat them all this week. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a marinade for two
Mm,
portions of this chicken and throw it in the freezer in the marinade. So I'm a
nice.
big fan of prepping everything in advance. So I will on Mondays typically I will put together a couple marinades, put chicken or beef in the marinades, put them in the freezer for the next week or that week. Pre-chopping your veggies saves
Hmm.
you so much time. So once you buy all of your groceries before you even put them away, wash them and cut them up and then put them in the fridge. When you get home and you don't want to make dinner, it's way less intimidating if everything's already prepped and ready to go.
Oh, yeah, that's a great idea.
So those are my two like, and also a lot of people don't know you can freeze pre-chopped veggies. So once a month, I typically will chop a bunch of onions, portion them out,
Oh,
and then freeze them. And when I need onion for a recipe, I just pull it right out of my freezer. I don't even have to think about cutting it up.
yeah. I guess I didn't think about doing that because I kind of worried that it would get like soggy or something. But I guess if you're gonna cook it, it doesn't really matter, even if it or doesn't it get soggy.
Yeah, so most veggies, if you plan on cooking them, you're right, are great frozen. If you want them like in a salad or a wrap, probably chop those ones fresh. But if you're going to put it in like a burrito bowl and you're going to cook
Hmm.
it down a little bit with the chicken, that's totally fine.
Right, and in fact, it might be beneficial because I might cook faster.
It does cook a lot faster. Yes.
Wow, that's a great idea. I like that. And then also, say you have a bag of onions and one of them's starting to go. It's like, okay, they might all be starting to go. So you could chop them up and stick them in your freezer. Save them.
Exactly. Yes. That's you can also freeze bananas. Speaking of things that go bad fast,
Yeah, bananas. Yeah.
that's one we always have in the freezer, and then I can always whip up some banana bread or muffins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, perfect. Now, do you ever add any supplements to your food? Are you a person that likes to do that? I'm trying to think like flaxseed or stuff like that. Do you or chia seeds or things like that that people think are like extra healthy? Do you ever do any of that kind of stuff?
I do, but only really to my oatmeal. So this is kind of new to me,
Okay.
and I'm kind of researching and doing a lot of. I mean, as I get older, obviously, I'm having to change my diet a little bit. I love
Mm-hmm.
I love oatmeal, and one
Mm-hmm.
thing that I've noticed is that it's just a lot of carbs, and I need a little bit more of a
Yeah.
balance there. So I do add a lot of chia seeds and flax seeds. into my oats, my overnight oats.
Oh,
It's just like an easy way to get more fiber, a little extra
mm,
protein. It just like balances everything out so nicely. I feel better too after eating that kind of oatmeal versus just
yeah.
like brown sugar oatmeal.
Yeah. Oh, I totally can imagine that. I've been reading or learning more about, I can't ever say this right, turmeric,
Oh yeah,
about how beneficial that is too. So I'm like trying to figure out ways to do it because, it's a little bit bitter, right?
it is a little bit better. Yes. The only way that I really ever use turmeric is in carrot juice, which is so weird that it
Oh,
works. It's such a weird combination that just tastes so good.
oh, nice, nice.
So I'm not super familiar with turmeric any farther than that though, but I have heard that it's so good for inflammation.
Yeah.
So it's something
Yep.
that I definitely love the idea.
Well, and it was weird because how I got introduced to it was because we have dogs and it was in there a meal topper and they were saying how good it is for dogs and I'm like, well, if it's good for dogs, it's probably good for people too. So I started looking into it and sure enough it is.
Not me over here taking notes now because I have two dogs and I'm wondering should I add turmeric as a
Oh,
topper to their meal?
right.
Oh,
And like this is one I'm trying to remember what the brand is. I get it at Targets, but I'm trying to remember what the name of it is. Kind? Is it Kind or something like that? But
is
yeah,
it
it's
kind?
got turmeric in it. Maybe is it Kind? Does that sound like a dog food? I think it does.
I think it does. I'm gonna have to look for it for sure because we've got one that's a little bit older and I know he needs any help that he can get.
Yeah, and we've been learning a lot because our oldest dog is 15 and we just found out that he not only probably has leukemia, but he also has kidney failure. So we're doing different things and so I'm finding out all these different things I didn't even know about for dogs and like bone broth. I didn't know that was a thing, but it has things in there for their joints, like chondroitin or whatever. And then just to get him to have more liquid, so I pour that over his hard food. I didn't even know bone broth was a thing. And sure enough, there it wasn't. The vet told me about it. And sure enough, I went to the store and it was on the shelf. And now my dogs they love this stuff.
You were giving me so many great ideas because I didn't even think to give my dog bone broth. Also, I'm so sorry about your sweet little baby. That's
I
awful.
know. It is awful. We have three and he's our oldest one. And, we knew he was slowing down and stuff. And so we just brought him in and she's like, yeah, I think he has cancer. I think he has leukemia. And she's like, but they can live. She said, I've seen because he's like a 19-pound dog. She's like, I've seen these little dogs live this way for a couple of years. So it doesn't mean that he's going to pass away right away. But it's hard too because he has to have now the kidney diet food which he doesn't love. So this is where we're doing things like adding the bone broth to it to make it more tasty for him, and it is working. It's helping him eat it more than if it wasn't on there.
Oh, awesome. I love that you did the research and took the time to see what you could do to help. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, and part of me, and I also started making a dog treat. Well, actually, I've made it in the past. I have it on my blog too, but it's a dog food or dog treat, a homemade dog treat, and I use oatmeal and baby food I try to get the ones that are lowest sodium like squash and apple and what else did I use, pumpkin, and then I mix it with oatmeal. And before I used to put a little bit of cheese in there, but now that he's not supposed to have cheese, then I left so this last time I left the cheese out and you just mix it all together and you bake it and it makes a homemade dog treat that my dogs love these treats. And I use chicken. Oh, the other one I use is chicken baby food. So I use like 4 jars of baby food, the vegetable ones and the apple, and then I usually use chicken baby food and then oatmeal. Stir it up,
Okay.
bake it.
I am now gonna have to go to your website and make this because I have dog treats on my website too.
Oh, do you? You do?
And
Oh, awesome.
yours sound a little bit more like my dogs would probably go nuts, but I have a pumpkin dog treat that does well every October. People go crazy and make their dogs pumpkin dog treats, but it has peanut
Right.
butter, and we're trying to stay away from peanut butter because
Oh,
our
yeah.
dog is prone to pancreatitis, and I don't want him to get.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. We don't give our oldest one peanut butter anymore either, but he always has loved peanut butter. But then, this last time when I made it without the cheese, I was like always thinking the cheese was helping hold it together. And I'm like, is it going to fall apart? It totally didn't without the cheese. It was totally fine. And the dogs they love it. They love these little treats. And I'm like, this is great because dog treats are really expensive, right? And this is a way you
Oh
can
yeah.
make homemade, right? And I feel like the prices of them are going up and up and up all the time.
Oh my gosh, yes. You could not be more right. I literally am so excited. I'm like have a whole list now of things I have to check out. And that's gonna be one of the first things I do when we get off here is go make homemade dog treats.
I love that. And you can vary it up too because they can have different vegetables, right? Like, I've done apple and I have used carrot, but when I was looking at the sodium on a carrot, I think was one of the higher sodiums. Obviously it's, just naturally in there, but for him and trying to do as low sodium as possible because of his kidney failure. So I'm like, well, there are other ones that are very, very low. Like I think it was like squash, pumpkin, maybe sweet potato. So you can even give them different flavors by picking different baby foods.
Great idea. I don't know why I didn't think ever of baby food. That is so smart.
It works so well. And, and my dogs, anyways, well, our youngest one is crazy. He eats raw vegetables, but the other two, they really won't. So if it's cooked or like smooth, like baby food in something, then they'll eat it. But our youngest one is crazy. This is the funniest thing ever. So like this is so funny. I still can't get over this. He loves peppers and pea pods and he eats them. You give them to him, he just crunches them. He absolutely loves them. It's the funniest thing to
Oh,
watch him eat ever.
that is so cute. We do grow sugar snap peas in our garden, and I have a golden doodle, and he's our young one, and he will climb in there and eat them off the vine. But my older dog is not a fan. So oh, that is so funny and so cute how different they can really be.
Oh, I know. And so we got him in August. He's a rescue dog and he kept going in my garden and he was picking carrots. He was pulling them out of the ground and chewing on them. I mean, he literally picked them. It was
Okay,
the funniest thing to
that is so cute. I have to see this in real life one day because that's so adorable.
I was just dying. I was laughing so hard because I'm like, what is he doing? I went over there and he grabbed the carrots, he kept doing it over and over again, but he would grab it with his mouth and just like pull it out like he was picking it. And well, it was so funny.
What smart dog. Oh my goodness.
I know, I know. So we haven't had them yet when we've had strawberries in the garden. So in June I'll get some strawberries. So he likes strawberries. So I'm really curious if he's going to go in there and be like, okay, eating time. Like we have to
Oh,
watch him. We're going to get any strawberries ourselves, right?
I will be so surprised if he doesn't. That's one of my dog's favorite, or when our strawberries
Yeah.
start to come in.
It's so funny when dogs eat that. Like our old dogs used to eat carrots because we had a rabbit, and so they'd want the carrots too. And our new dogs, they none of them like carrots. So the youngest one will eat them if they're cooked. But it's so funny how they're all so different, right? And I've never had a dog like we have now. Like he likes kiwis. I mean, it blows my brain the things that he wants to eat, like fruits and vegetable wise.
Oh my gosh. Have you ever seen there's somebody on TikTok who does this? They feed their dog different things to see if it likes it or
Oh.
not. And if it doesn't like it, it'll go throw it in the garbage. And I just think that's the funniest thing ever. And that's what I'm getting from this conversation is that kind of vibe where your dog is like ready to taste test all of your garden treats.
I know, right? Like I actually put a little video on there of him eating the peppers on my YouTube. And so he's eating the peppers on the YouTube and it's so funny. People are looking at it, but it really is funny because he crunches it like, it's like, and it's so funny. And he loves those sugar snap peas. That's his other favorite thing. And he crunches those too. It's so funny.
Oh, and it's like a little ASMR video. I would 100% watch that over and over again.
I know he's so funny. I mean, and honestly, I cut up vegetables. We have a guinea pig, so we have pepper time. We call that pepper time, and he comes running because it's pepper time because he gets peppers, and he'll crunch them, and I laugh almost every time because it's just the funniest thing to watch, to see this dog like eating. His favorites are orange and yellow peppers, and then red, green not so much. He doesn't like the green ones nearly as much as he likes the orange, red, and yellow.
Oh, what a cutie. You should definitely try cucumber. We've got hit or miss here in our household on if the dogs like cucumber. Sometimes they do, sometimes they
Yeah.
don't. But it
He
gives you that
hasn't liked cucumber.
satisfying little crunch factor.
Oh yeah, yeah. When I've given him cucumber so far, he hasn't liked it. He's eaten melon several times, kiwi. What else do you like? Oh, he ate pineapple. Was it pineapple he ate once? Oh, blueberries. He loves
Ooh.
blueberries.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we use those as a little treat topper too. That's kiwi I'm blown away with that he likes the kiwi.
Yes.
Crazy.
I did not expect him to like the kiwi either, but he really did. They're
Oh
so
my
fun.
goodness.
It's fun to feed them different things, right? I think it is, especially when
No,
they're when they're willing to try stuff. So back to your cookbooks, what do you have going forward? Do you have a cookbook that you're considering making or working on at this time?
you know, I'm not sure. I have been approached with a few ideas. My
Mm.
publishers were really happy with how the last few went. They really loved the simple recipes, good food, good food cookbook. And we're
Mm.
considering possibly doing like a one pan meal cookbook or a two pan dinner cookbook, but I'm just not sure. I've got a
Mm-hmm.
couple other projects kind of in the works for 2024. So if I do another cookbook, it'll probably be released in 2025 or 2020.
Okay, sure. Yeah, it's kind of hard to decide, I bet. But it's nice that they're coming to you and saying, "Hey, we want more." I mean, that's perfect. Very awesome.
Yeah, and I get a lot of great feedback. We've got a lot of really good reviews. And I think that people genuinely like just easy recipes. Uh,
Right.
so, I mean, like, I can never go wrong with another one.
Right. So, do you usually release yours as an ebook and a paperback, or what versions do you usually release as?
So, we've been doing only paperback books as
Oh, okay. Uh-oh, I think I
in.
lost you. Can you hear me?
Oh, are you still there?
Yep, I'm still here.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, no worries.
One second. So we tossed around the idea of maybe releasing all of my current cookbooks as ebooks.
Okay.
And that's kind of an option we're considering because in the past it's only been a paperback version. And so we
Okay.
definitely want people to have whatever's most convenient for them. We're just not quite sure yet on that kind of aspect on if it will be ebooks in the future or if it'll just be paperback.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of people like the actual paperback because it's something they like to hold it, see it, lay it out. But, there are people who like digital too. So, I can see how that there's an appeal to that to offer that as well.
Exactly. Yes.
Where do you see your blog going in the future? Are you just going to keep on making recipes all different ways, or do you find yourself thinking that you want to? You said you are thinking about a series you're focusing on, or
Yeah. So my website kind of has grown a lot in the last few years. And we're considering and hired a team to kind of look in the idea of doing menu planning and sending out some menu plans so that way it takes the work away from you. You don't have to worry about it.
oh,
So that's something we're kind of working on throughout this year to kind of see if we can fine tune it and make it really, really easy for people to click on the recipes that they want included in their meal plan so they don't have to get like random recipes that they're not going to really want to eat.
mm-hmm.
So we're trying to grow it that way. We've got already have some email series where we send out meal plans for people, but they're pretty generalized. And we keep getting the feedback that they want to be able to pick the recipes that they're getting in their meal plan. They want the grocery list to be broken down by the different areas of the grocery store. And
Oh, sure.
so we're trying to do all of that, which we're hoping can be finished by the end of the year and kind of grow that way. I am still going to be providing kind of all of the different recipes because while I ideally want to niche down, there's a wide range of recipes that are very popular on my website. So I'll
Oh,
be
sure.
providing a little bit of everything for the foreseeable future, but a little more on the dinner side because that is what's a little bit more popular.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So that's kind
Yeah.
of the plans for the website. The website's more of a focus. The books are maybe we might do more.
Sure. So your focus is more on your website. Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think dinners is a good idea, especially if they're simple. People like that and they want it. I mean, we're all so busy. We want something easy and quick and something that's not gonna yeah, we need that.
exactly. And that's what every time we put out surveys or ask, everybody's like, give us more easy dinner recipes. And so, you tell us what you want, and that's what we're going to give you.
Right. Now, which different platforms are you on where people could connect with you?
So I'm on Instagram, and if you message me on there, I am the one who replies to messages. I do
Okay.
have a team that kind of manages everything for me. I'm on Pinterest and Facebook. Our biggest platforms where people like to engage the most are definitely through my email list, which is interesting because I didn't think that would be something that
Yeah.
people would want. But they love,
Right.
yep, every recipe on my website you can save straight to your inbox. So you just type in your email address and we'll send it to you, which makes it super convenient if
Oh.
you're looking for it. And people love to engage that way. And then we're always doing surveys to give you more of what you want. And I think that's been a really popular trend lately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be really nice because, in all these, the platforms are great, but if you don't somehow organize it or find a way to access it easily again, you're just like redoing the work, right? Trying to find
Yeah.
that again. And again, it's a time suck. We're looking for easier, faster things.
Exactly. And then the same on like Instagram, if you see one of my recipes that you like, All you have to do is comment and we're going to send you the link. Like we're going to make it as easy for you to access the recipes
Mm,
as possible.
that is very cool. Very cool. Now, do you get into doing any kind of videos at all for your content, or are you more into just doing the images?
So we do have a lot of video, and I'm getting more involved in the video where I myself am in them. I am slightly awkward on camera,
Oh, okay.
which is funny because I do a lot of TV appearances and a lot of cooking. I've been in a lot of
Oh, okay.
commercials for
Hmm,
local grocery stores, and so I do a lot of TV.
okay.
But the girls who help me video always are saying, "Why are you so awkward?" And it's because I'm a normal person. So when you see me on camera, you're going to relate
Mm,
to me because I definitely am like a very normal, average 30 something year old. Um, but yeah, we have a lot of video already on the website, a lot of it coming soon. We're updating every day. So basically, any of the top recipes are going to have a really great tutorial on how to make the recipe so you can kind of see it
mm.
visually. I should put those on YouTube. I'm not great
I'm
on
just gonna say,
YouTube.
are you on YouTube as well? Yeah, you should be.
Yeah, I do have a YouTube channel, but funny enough, my dog treats are the only thing that are really popular on. So,
Oh.
but I should post more, and I probably should make that a priority.
Yeah, yeah, YouTube is a good place to be, and people can search and find, and yeah, exactly. It's a great place to put videos. That's where people want videos, right?
Oh, for sure. And I mean, like, I have all the content already on my website. I might as well just put it over there.
Right. I mean, basically all you're going to be doing is uploading and making a description, right? I mean, you're already more than halfway there because a video takes more time, I'd say.
Yeah, yes, they do. They do take a lot of time, but they're so helpful and so informative that I think it's such an important part of a website.
They are. Are you surprised where you are in your career with all of this? Is it something that you're like, I did not foresee? I mean, like you kind of mentioned that in the beginning, but is it like just kind of an awe for you?
Oh, for sure. So like right before the pandemic hit, I actually was working in finance and I loved my job. It was so great. I have nothing but great things to say about it, but there were some layoffs and I got let go. And at
Mm,
that time, my website was, it was okay. I had my cookbooks, they were doing okay. My website was okay. But in the last 3 or 4 years, like honestly, like I am so surprised that when you put some work and love into something, you can really grow. And the amount of support that I've received from my followers is just honestly phenomenal. And it's what keeps me going. And this quickly turned from, a hobby to this is my career. This is how I'm making my money. This is my livelihood.
cool.
It's just been incredible to see when you put a little time and love into something, how quickly it can really just take off. So yeah, I am very happy with where I'm at. I'm very impressed. I love my followers and I will do anything. In fact, most of my recipes are based off of what they're asking for. So
Oh,
I think that they've given me a little bit of a passion and a reason to like keep going with this. So definitely something that I didn't see happening and am so pleasantly surprised and delighted by.
that's very cool. That's so cool. That's a great story. I love to hear that kind of thing because it's something that you're obviously passionate about and it's paying off and it's doing well. So that's a great thing and that's a great blessing for sure.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Now, do you find yourself spending a lot of time interacting with fans and people who are followers of you, or is that a hard thing for you to do? Because I know it can be a lot when there people are commenting on different platforms and stuff, or how do you deal with that kind of a thing?
Oh yeah, I love the engagement, but I also have a very big rule where social media can't take over my family life.
Right.
So I set aside an hour to two a day where I just
Hmm.
take the time to reply to people and comment. And I get a lot of emails asking questions about my recipes because my fan base is such a wide range. They start at 20 and it goes all the way into the 70s. Uh,
Okay.
so, so those older people like to email me questions, which is totally fine, but I really like to take the time
Right.
to email everybody back personally. So an hour
Sure.
typically a day, I'll sit and reply to every single comment, every single fan. It's it's actually really nice. I've built some bonds. In fact, some of my closest friendships are from people who started
Mm,
following me and then it's slowly grown over like the last few years and we've become really really close. So I really value and treasure those people who take the time to go to my website and make my recipes, and I want them to have a really great experience. That also extends into like me being available to answer questions and help when they need
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I think people really like that personal connection, like you said, you're making relationships. But it is hard. So it's a good idea to like set a time and be like, okay, I'm going to do an hour because it could take up quite a bit of time. But if you have a plan, maybe that I could see how that would work well.
Yeah, and that was sort of a necessity because I was spending probably too much time on social media. And then I realized, you know what, my son's growing up way too fast. And I
Yeah.
have
Mhm.
just a short amount of time with him. So I want to make sure I value that over my website, even though my website is very dear to me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you do have to have a balance. Otherwise, yeah, because you still have life going on. You've got your son and you're a mom. So yeah, I totally get that too. You
Yes.
need to try to, find a way to balance all that. So if people want to sign up for your email list, how do they find that on your website, I'm assuming?
Yeah, you can find that on my website. So on the very first landing page of onesweetappetite.com, there's a quick place to just put your email in, or any of my web recipes has a little pop-up that pops up, or most of them have the option to save the recipe. And when you save the recipe, it asks you if you want to send. So when you save a
Yeah.
recipe from my website and you have it emailed to you, you don't automatically get signed into my email list. You have to
Oh,
opt
okay.
in because I don't like to
Okay.
be, pushy with that.
So you kind of have them separated. So they kind of would have to do both if they want to be on your
Ex-
list as well.
exactly. Yeah.
Now, do you take your pictures for your blog or you have other people do it? Because that's a
So I
whole
do
thing to learn too.
It is. It really is. I do all of it. So I do the photos. I do have somebody who does my video for me just because I'm not great at editing video. But all
Yeah.
the photos that you see on my website are from my kitchen and from my camera. And I do all of the photos, all of the editing. The food styling is very basic because I feel like when you're sharing easy, basic recipes, the recipe should look how it looks right out of the oven. So I try not to do
Mm,
a ton of styling. I want it to look like how it's going to look when you make it. So that is a lot from me. Everything is directly from me and my camera.
that's cool. That's cool. Now, did you find yourself having to learn how to do that, or were you already someone who kind of knew how to take more professional looking photos?
I did kind of teach myself.
Hmm.
At first, I had a very basic point and shoot camera that was not super quality, but I found like
Mm,
even with that, if I had the right natural light and the right angles, you can make anything look good. So some of my older recipes, you would never know was from a very, very, very old camera that probably shouldn't have even worked anymore. And then I slowly taught myself how to use a nicer quality camera and different lenses. And it
hmm.
does make it a little bit easier when you kind of teach yourself how to do a manual mode on the camera, which, I'm always happy to help if anybody wants to learn, shoot me a message and I will send you a quick little cheat sheet that I created for people who ask me questions.
Nice. That's
Mm-hmm.
very nice. And yeah, natural light I find is just it's just invaluable to be able to use natural light in your photos.
It is. It makes it a little tricky because, like, during the winter here, I live in Utah.
Mm,
It's very dark. So you
yep.
get most days you can't take photos. You have to like cross your fingers for a really bright and light, happy day. But I like natural light. I think it gives you the most realistic look for your food. And I also love artificial light. I'm just not good at it. Oh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You have to have the right equipment, and then you have to know how to use it, angles, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's a lot harder than the
exactly.
natural light.
I have a tight space. Our house is pretty small because we're just a family of three. And I
Hmm.
don't even know where I would put light like that. So
This has been such an amazing chat. I really enjoyed chatting with you. And was there anything that you wanted to mention that we didn't yet before we end our chat?
you know what? I just am so thrilled that you took the time and invited me to have this conversation. I had such a great time. I'm so excited to go check out your social channels and search for your dogs now because I'm invested.
I know it's so much fun. It really is. And I love baking for them. It's funny because when I do make those, it's like they know I'm making that. It's like, I don't know if they can smell it. I know they have such a good sense of smell, but it's so funny. Like they're like waiting for it, like, I don't know. It's so funny,
It's
but
gotta
fun.
be, they have to know. That's just so cute. And I'm so thrilled you had me. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on. I really enjoyed our chat, and I will put all of your links down the podcast show notes so people can easily find you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Julie.
You have an amazing day. It was so great to meet you.
You too.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.